Alright, I don't think I'm gonna worry about setting up the Discord because I don't think I'm gonna put the headset on. I do have to make sure the sound's working though. Power off. Was something on and playing? I didn't even know. Let's check real quick. Power off. Was something on and playing? I didn't even know. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Hey, 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 listen to me. Let's check real quick. Power off. Was something on and playing? I didn't even know. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Hey, 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 listen to me. Let's check real quick. Okay. Is something on and playing? I didn't even know. Seems alright. I'm going to. What is this? Back. Hey, hey, hey. Alright, I had to go walk and chill because I did this once already, and I got like 7, 8 minutes into it, and I realized that when I moved the microphone, I hit the mute button 2 minutes into it, and it was just nothing the whole time. I'm like, oh my god, I cannot believe I did that. I had to go for a fucking walk and chill. So get the fuck out of here. It felt so smooth and good and natural too. I don't know how to pick myself back up again to get back to where I was, but I'm gonna do the best I can and just try to, I guess, just try to start to explain the basics of who I am, what I'm doing here. I wanted to try to do these short, maybe live stream videos because I don't feel like making a whole long live recording. I'm not an editor. And I could sit here and figure it out, but I figured this would be an easy way to do it. It makes it more a little raw too, anyways. But I was like, okay, I guess there's a way to I could use the OBS to record, and then I could just talk and talk and talk, and then edit clips, and then make different videos, and da da da. But I figured this might be an interesting way to do things too. Is just do maybe 5 to 20 minute videos. I'm hoping they'll only be in between there. You know what I mean? Like I hope it's not nothing too short, nothing too long. I'd like to try to finish an idea or thought through. Like I explained it in the description, and I figured I'd just go back to my OBS every time I want to make a new live stream video, and I'll just go to that description, go to the bottom, and say second video, third video, and I want to try to. I figured to leave the description pretty much the same because I figured it's like tags and stuff in a sense. Like people that type in those keywords and phrases, and maybe I'll pop up, and maybe I'll get clicks and blah 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 or whatever. I'm sure they won't like some things I've said on my other live streams and my things and whatnot, but it's like I'm not calling people those words, even though some people can be those words. I'm calling like the system and like the fucking game itself and the fucking bullshit. The N word, and people get used to that. But I'm being careful with it now, being sensitive about it, and blah blah blah. But it's something people really need to work because it's far beyond ridiculous. I'm tired of the racial connotation to it and everything. It's so stupid. It's just like you all know it means you don't really admit what it means, but you want to keep it to yourselves. You're not really allowed to say it. It makes no sense. It really doesn't. It doesn't. But I don't have any racial connotation to the word. I think it means, what a lot of other people thinks it means you're just being a willfully ignorant fucking asshole, rude jerk. It's just all there's really, just negative connotations, which is a shorter way of saying it. And of course, it was just it comes from negro, and a Latin word for black, and da da da. And it's just like it's so stupid. It really is stupid. That people, obviously, racist people say it, and not racist people say it. And I mean, it's like it's just a word. Fucking stop trying to police all words and start getting words right. Understand what they mean. I understand what things can mean and say to some people and whatnot, but it's like stupidity in comparison. It really is. But that wasn't even the route I wanted to go down. But I was just kind of warning you. If you do watch the other videos, I've used the N word to Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. Not getting good draws and shit. But I'd probably like make people like turn them off right away, right off the bat. They're like, "This isn't comedy. This guy's just talking." But no, I moved out here to Austin from Delaware. Um, I gotta start. I had to start things over. It's a. I got a fortunate blessing, and not the best way, but in one way I worked into one, and it's kind of like God's like, here's the reward for working so hard for at least this long. Here's a little break. Maybe I'll get a little grace and be able to focus on pursuing my happiness and being an entertainer again and actually talking in front of a crowd, or even if it's I comedy's great. I love it. I want to keep doing it. I want to do it as a job to make money and to help out in the business in the aspect however I can in every way possible, from sweeping the floors to cleaning and helping close into whatever I got to do to, whatever, to help out in whatever way I can in any capacity. I need to make a steady paycheck with using my mind and my mouth without getting on my knees. And this is the best way to do it. And it's in me, I can't help it, it's in my heart, it's in my blood, it's always been a part of me. I've always been drawn to the stage. I've always been, I used to be a professional wrestler. I used to, do stuff with my church and other churches, ever since I was a kid, and I went to modeling and acting school and whatnot, and it's just, I've always had an affinity for all forms of entertainment, music and to movies, to, comedy, to video games, to you name it. I have an understanding and respect and an affinity for all of it because I understand what it takes, to do it, and I appreciate, people's efforts, and stepping out and doing what they do. And it's like I never even realized, because when you are an entertainer, you're just in your head, you're like, this. Oh, why wouldn't everyone want to do these easy dream jobs and whatnot? But people are normal, and they want to do normal things, and it's like, I'm just not normal. I really tried my whole life to do normal. I messed up so many times, and there's so many times I'm like, okay, this is it. You're gonna get this is the job, the last job I'm gonna have. Get the 401k, get the savings, get the manager position, da da da, and work my way up. It's something, but always happened, always something. I've had 45 jobs since I was a kid. I can't do it anymore, and I can't keep denying who I am. I got struck in the head, and I got a small settlement, and I'm just like, okay, I've got to pursue my happiness again. You know what I mean? I never go out really liking and looking to go for entertainment. I'm happy sitting at home and entertaining myself and looking at videos, which is all entertainment. It's somebody else still acting and performing, but I don't go out. People, I like to be the thing that people come out to see, kind of thing. I'd rather be that, I even like just, when I worked at the nightclub, just being the bouncer, you know what I mean? Protecting the guys on the stage and stuff like that, you know what I mean? It's fun to be involved with the business on any aspect, really. And I enjoy all of it. And I want to start doing the best I can. I'm not the best at doing, I need to sit down and actually write things. I have a word prompt, word program and whatnot. processor to actually write all my notes out and everything, and like think about, okay, here's my story, but how do I draw this story out in a way to make it set up punch, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not exactly that person too. I do have my own, I have to be my unique self and have my vision, and have my, my perspective. Um, but yeah, I also want to try to do things the right way, and a lot of it's things that you guys don't even know or realize. So I'm not like a teacher or nothing, so I'm not gonna, I just watched Ralphie Bay's master class and whatnot, but it was a lot of stuff I already kind of knew and understood, and it was cool to hear his perspective and understanding, and know like, yep, that's what you gotta do, and but I have different outlets and perspectives too. Like I understand it needed to be like my own monologue writer in a sense, but I'd really like to get any work, whatever work I can, in the entertainment business. I'd like to do voice acting, anything behind a microphone, and just being able to collect a paycheck. I just need to survive. I'm not looking to be rich and famous. The lightning in a bottle thing happens for some people. I know I'm going to be a niche audience in myself, but I'm open to writing whatever material for whatever. But I got to be me, my character, and my gimmick, and lean into that. um, so yeah, I was playing a little piece of thread. So yeah, um, Matthew Coffin, man, this is me. It's been a crazy, weird, long journey to get here, but I'm here. It's going on 12 minutes now. Do a quick, brief little thing I was going through earlier. Like, first thing you see when you come into my house is Jesus and the Three Stooges. I mean, as you see, it's been my whole life. It's ever since I was a kid. My first memories is playing Missile Command, and but like before I had like cognitive memories, Mom said I was in a hospital. I had heart surgery. I was in DeBoer Hospital, and I was just sitting there in the waiting room. My mom said I had some sort of like IV thing, needle thing, or something like in my neck. I don't know what they were doing or prepping me for. I know it's for, but to do surgery, but I don't know what step or process they're doing. She said there was a thing in my neck. And she said, "Look, honey, Hulk Hogan's on TV." And she said, I turned my head and looked so fast that the thing ripped out of my neck and blood was just squirting out of my neck, and I was just staring at the television. It was our fire. You know what I mean? And it was like, that's the generation we're from. You know what I mean? Just like everyone had a TV. Like I was fortunate to have a TV. We were kind of a poor family, but Papa had to have a fucking TV, and he had to be able to watch baseball and had to be able to watch wrestling. And man, that's just what it was, man. And I was, that's why I don't sound like I'm from. You'll hear accents and stuff that I don't really like hear, or understand, and whatnot. But I don't have an accent like my ex. I don't have an accent like some other people from Sussex County that didn't have a television when they grew up, or didn't get to watch as much television, or actually went outside and played and whatnot. I'm from the most southern point in Delaware, and everyone, as I was growing up as a teenager and whatnot, would think I was from the city, because I articulated and I was taught the difference between roof, and and I was watching. You can't say that on television, and I was watching just all kinds of stuff all the time. Pee Wee. Oh, so much Paul Rubens stuff when I was a kid. I watched Pee Wee's Big Adventure so many times. being out here in Texas is really cool. It's like so many things are like full circle. It's like I always kind of like felt kind of like something drawing me towards Texas ever since I was little, but I was like, I don't know, and I don't know why, I don't understand. And then as I got older, I started to understand why, but I'm like, it's just that there's no place for me out there, and it's just like this bigger and bigger entertainment field, and I'm like, this is where it's at. This is where it's happening. I don't want to do the East Coast. I don't want. There's people out here that don't understand my humor, but there's other people that do understand my humor, and there's people who get behind me and stuff. And it's really cool. Um, but this is where it's happening. Like I know I'm not sure if it's in Austin, but I know like Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson and others. They want to start making a new, you know, movie production area out here in Texas. Somewhere. And obviously I'm down the street from the mothership. I specifically just tried to get an apartment near the mothership so I could drive down 6th Street and start working that street, and that's what I've been doing. I go out there and I park in the parking garage. It's really weird. It's like if I get there at like 5 or whatever, and I stay till 2, my shit's always like $10 and change. But I got there yesterday at like 1 in the afternoon and was there till 2, and it was like $38 and change. I was like, that's crazy. Crazy, crazy. But like I said, maybe this one would be closer to a 20-minute one because we're already 16 minutes in. But yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, that's, so I have a little bit of money to try to start pursuing things and doing things right, but I'm not banking on being rich. I'm just trying to be practical, do the grind however I can, however I have to. I want to try to, I have to take time to do this marketing stuff for myself and start building, I guess, this platform on the internet so people can start hearing and seeing me different ways, and I can get more of myself out, uninterrupted, not being, timed and under pressure and all that good stuff. But all that's character building, and all that is also like very much, you know, uh, just building your skill set, and your reaction times and your understanding, and just like, oh, I could think about things this way, and oh, that's a joke. Oh, maybe I messed that up, but that made me think of this, so maybe I can think of that and do that later. And it's constantly thinking about material, constantly trying to get the jump on things, be the first person to say something. And that's, because you don't want to beat topics to death and stuff. But man, some things like they're like I don't think are fucking funny. You know what I mean? Like Raja Jackson situation. There's not a whole lot very funny about that. You know what I mean? There's just been something that upset me, and I felt needed to be called out and spoken about. And like, look, if you don't understand or know how the sausage is made, you shouldn't be anywhere near where the chefs are at all. You shouldn't. That whole situation should never happen. I really am like more and more starting to believe exactly what Douglas Mallow suggested, and that it was probably a hired gun situation, and Rajai didn't even know he was a hired gun, and it really messed up. But try to be more boisterous and joyful in the next ones, because that's my intention. I'm gonna start going through my notes and all the stuff I think about and been writing down and thinking about, and just try to get this out, on camera, get it recorded, so at least the thoughts are out there and everything's out there. You can see the things. You can take from it and write things from it. Don't outright steal from me and whatnot, and be like, hey, that's the guy, reference me. That's the guy I got this concept or idea from, blah, 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 blah. And then, obviously people to figure out it's the internet. That's the whole point of me doing this. But, because there's a lot of things, like I've been typing, man. But at the same time, if you're just yourself and you really are original and you're really trying to be thought-provoking, thoughtful about things and think things through, then it's going to be hard for somebody else to be copying you, or you be copying somebody else, but at the same time, like-minded people, geniuses, do all think alike to some degree. not geniuses, you know what the term is. What is it? Great minds think alike, as they say. But you know how it is. You know, some people are like, you know, like because people see the obvious. I think sometimes where the obvious joke is in things. Um, all right, 20 minutes in. Not the really the intro I was thinking about and going for, but that's basically give you an idea where I'm going. I'm gonna start going through my notes on the next one, how I would think about doing it, how I would think about performing it. Um, I don't know. Maybe I would just perform it. I don't know. Um, because it's not all structured out. Like I said, it's not all well. Like I didn't like I have this concept and I can kind of riff on it and rip on it and try to fill time and not go over. But I haven't like structured. Here's this story about what I'm talking about, and this is how I'm going to structure it, and this is their setup, and this is the punchline, and this is how I'm going to do it, and this, you know. But we're going to stop right here. It's 21 minutes in, and I'll just carry on in the next video.